Hi, I'm Dr. Brandell Mills Cox, and this is my story about how racism has hurt me. About 2 years ago, it was a beautiful day in the Maryland area, and so I decided to take my kids to a walk to the park. I had my son in the carrier. He was about 4 months at the time, and my daughter was a little over 3 years old. And we walked to the park and we enjoyed our time there for about 30 minutes. And eventually, we made our way to a pretend bus where my daughter was playing and acting like she was picking up people and driving through the city. There was another kid there playing as well, and his mom was encouraging him to make room for my daughter, to give her an opportunity to drive the bus. After a few promptings, the young boy, who couldn't have been much older than about 5 years old, looked at his mom and said, "But Mom, I don't like friends that are brown." Immediately, I stopped in my track. I looked at my daughter to see if she had heard and understood what it was that he had said. And thankfully, she wasn't paying attention to the exchange between him and his mother. His mother immediately turned beet red and started whispering to him, which I assume were comments about how that wasn't appropriate and how he shouldn't have said that. But in that moment, for me, I could only think about my daughter and her experience, and if she had in fact heard him, and what that would mean for her psyche and how she would process that experience for a complete stranger to not want to befriend her simply because her skin is brown. And I immediately started thinking about what the ramifications for that type of thinking can be for a young boy of his age to already have this framework where he's discriminating against my daughter, who's 3 years old, who doesn't even understand the communication exchange simply because of the color of her skin. After that moment, I spent a lot of time reflecting on how to shield my daughter from things like this happening, and which we know is inevitable. We can't be shielded from the racism in our society, but also how I would have conversations with her and my son about random strangers who automatically have opinions and assumptions about who they are, their character, and what they bring to the table simply because of the color of their skin. And so while my children weren't negatively impacted in that exchange, that for me as a mother has been at the forefront of how I will and plan to address issues like racism with my children and have open and frank conversations about how they will have to navigate and exist in this world being young Black people. And so that is my experience with racism.